What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to MLB Swing for the Fences here on Tuesday, March 31st. 10-game baseball slate on our hands. And as always, on Tuesdays, joined by the legend himself, Steve Boyden. Steve, how you doing on this Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah, good. What's going on, man? Got our first kind of weather-impacted slate of the young season. Big T, the season is not 10 to 12 days old. We started on Thursday. I was watching the show yesterday, just cracking up on that. That was great. We don't have game logs yet, but, we will manage. We've got the Sabre Sim shared here. I think we should look at the Weather Edge tool when we get to the weather games too. DC, I've got that up, our brand new, currently free tool right now on the site. But, yeah, just fun time of year. Got the Final Four coming up. It was a fun weekend of college hoops games. I kind of capped off with that unreal UConn ending. But, we got 10 games here. Bunch of really nice hitting spots, I think, tonight. And finally, some top-end pitching after yesterday was a real slog trying to pick arms to use in DFS.
It was a slog, but I'll say, hand up over here. I got it wrong on the whole pitching slate as a whole. I mean, yeah, Big T in the chat. I'd love to see it. But I did not see – what did McCullers get? Did he get 9 strikeouts?
8 or 9. He went deep in the game. I was not ready for that either.
I did not see that coming. I didn't see Soroka striking out 10 guys. Cabrera was good. Luis Castillo, who I didn't like, he had a good game. It was
the Soroka thing
for diagnosing the slate.
The Soroka thing was wild because he was in trouble each of the first 3 innings. He had 65 or 70 pitches through 3 and then struck 8 of the next 10 batters out. Pretty odd slate. Yesterday we saw the Rockies score 14 runs. That's just probably not a slate that I'm going to do too well on TC. Yeah. So I actually liked tonight's a lot better overall.
Even my guy Robleski got in the game. He was going to go 4 innings, but then he just sucked ass and didn't do well anyway. So no one else. I'm taking a W for that, Big D. If you're still watching on my Robleski take, not really, but anyway, we'll move on to this slate. That's baseball. Crazy sport.
Yeah.
Talk about
Ponce got hurt too.
Ponce. He looked pretty good. I thought Ponce did, but then fell over on the mound delivering a pitch, and then 2 or 3 pitches later couldn't field a ground ball, and looks like he tore his ACL. So yeah, I guess we'll see you next year probably on Cody Ponce. It was a good run for those 3 innings that we got to play you in 2026. We got 10 games to talk about. Like you said, we do have some potential weather issues on the slate, particularly in your neck of the woods in Chicago, Steve, where I think we're probably both taking the approach on the early builds, at least, of just avoiding the game. You mentioned our new tool, Weather Edge, that Stats built over on Run Pure Sports. I believe it's still free, at least for now. Yeah. But it gives you, exact predicted percentages on delay. There it is on postponement. What does it have? 50% chance postponement for?
Let me update this real quick. Get the latest. Yeah, here's what we have right now for the Cubs game. Yeah, 43% postpone, 86% delay right now.
Yeah, so probably an avoid on a 10-game slate. Sometimes you can wait and see, right, and maybe it clears up and you can get those guys in that game at super low ownership. I do think that's a viable strategy sometimes, but not how I'm going to be building, at least to initially start my lineup.
I think especially for something like this, I would be more apt to do that if we wanted to play the bats in the game and not the arms, right? Because a delay could pop up and screw these arms. Whereas, if a storm pops, they could still get the whole game in for bats if the wind was blowing out. But that's not the case. It is going to be cold and wind blowing in tonight in Chicago.
Yeah, not the place to go, we don't think, for hitting. St. Louis and the Mets also potential issues. I think that game's going to play. It looks like some light rain in the area. We've got it at a decent chance of delay, probably not postponed. And then the Dodgers game pretty rare to see potential weather, obviously, in Los Angeles, but rain moving in the area there too. Again, I do expect that game to play, but at some risks. Those 3 games, at least got to monitor the weather, and it's been kind of nice through the first 10 days of the season here, Steve. We haven't really had weather issues to deal with, but
Right.
tonight, as is usually the case early in the season, a little bit of weather to monitor. With that, let's jump into these games. We'll go by the SaberSim order of games. We will start off in Toronto, where the Blue Jays will look to exact some revenge after last night's disaster. After Ponce left, they just completely fell apart. Rockies had a huge day with the sticks. Tonight, the Rockies will go up against Max Scherzer, who I think he's 41 now, been around forever. Actually looked pretty good this spring. The velocity was up a little bit. He got worked up to 75 pitches. And I think they're going to let Max go for as long as he can go, right? At his age, it's probably not going to be too long, but I do think they want Max to eat some innings for them if he can do so effectively. And
especially after last night too, losing Ponce in the third inning.
And Scherzer, I mean, he'll be up for this game to, obviously his first start of the season, try to right the ship for the Blue Jays. And I mean, against these Rockies, you have to consider almost any pitcher that's going to have duration, right? Who's going to go? We think 5+ innings. I do think Max will get through 5+. Tons of strikeouts in this lineup, obviously. I'll say too, lefties against Max Scherzer absolutely crushed him last year. 290 ISO, Steve, against lefties for Max Scherzer. He's always given up power to lefties, but obviously with the diminishing stuff, that's even gotten worse. Rockies do have, I think, a couple interesting lefty bats, some really cheap guys. Rumfield, he's a rookie. He can hit a little bit. Trey Johnston hit a long home run yesterday. I like what I've seen out of him. He's got some speed as well. Both those guys in that mid 2K range, hitting 5th and 6th. McCarthy, Castro, under 3K. So I think potential value bats here for the Rockies to, maybe not a full stack, but hunting some lefty power against Scherzer is something I'm going to do pretty much every time he pitches, including tonight. So I'll have these Rockies guys mixed in. I will play a little bit of Scherzer as well for the it's weird to say for him, but I think he's got strikeout upside here against the Rockies. And then the Blue Jays go up against Ryan Feltner, who does have some pretty big splits. He's been much more effective against righties than lefties, which isn't maybe great for this Toronto lineup, but I don't know. It's still Ryan Feltner. It's still the Rockies bullpen, and this Blue Jays team has a ton of power. Springer, Okamoto hit one yesterday. Really like what I've seen out of those two early on. Varsho, Vlad, Jesus Sanchez, I could see having a nice season for the Blue Jays. So I'm back in on this Blue Jays team. Let us down a little bit overall last night, but I see a potential bounce back spot here.
Yeah, I think you got to go back to these spots. I think that's what's so interesting about baseball kind of in general, right? Like we play every day. It's not like there's a week between games to kind of let the pain subside. You have a slate one day later. The Blue Jays screwed a ton of people last night on both sides. The pitching, Ponce was 50+% owned, and the bats as well. So yeah, I mean, just as good of a spot here tonight, if not better. The entire Toronto lineup outside of Springer and Guerrero is very, very fairly priced. So really like going back to them here. Scherzer, I think, is a rock solid play. Project for, I think we've got 18-ish here on him, under 8K. The only difference is this is a much stronger pitching slate. I think that if this was a spot yesterday, he would be up, where Ponce was. But we've got Hunter Brown, Gilbert, Shohei, Fried, McClanahan, guys like that on this slate. So just a little different context for Scherzer. But yeah, I mean, at home against the Rockies, huge favorite. I'm going right back to both sides here, the Toronto pitcher and the bats here. Toronto did shake up the lineup a little bit. Okamoto up to the cleanup spot today, DC.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about Okamoto, been on him early. I mean, his numbers, it's early here, but hitting the ball hard. But his numbers in Japan, man, he was like by far the best hitter over the last 3 years, just absolutely crushing it, like a 200 WRC plus. And we've seen the super high end Japanese imports that come over, guys like Suzuki, those guys find success here generally. And I think Okamoto is a level above all those guys, everybody really that's come over. So he's going to be one that I stay on, 4,300. I think he will be joining Springer and Vlad before too long in the 5 to 6K category. I really think this guy could hit. So someone to stay on early in the season. We'll go to the next game. We've got the A's and the Braves. Fun one here in Atlanta. Should be pretty decent weather, a little bit of wind blowing in, but should be pretty warm, humid. We'll play a little tough, it looks like, 4 home runs potentially, but overall a decent park for sure tonight in Atlanta. Nothing to shy away from if you like the offenses here. Lefty Jose Suarez will go for the Braves. I wouldn't expect too much out of him. Don't really think he's in play at 6,300. I do think these power bats for the A's. Shea Langoliers has been awesome to start the season. Slow start for Rooker, but we know what he can do. I would expect him to get going. My guy Max Muncy has had a decent start to the year with a home run, a steal. I think he's still a bargain at 3,400. So A's bats for sure over Suarez. I don't know if they're my very favorite stack, but certainly a viable one to go to. I definitely prefer the right-handed bats if we're trying to pick off individual value plays. And then Aaron Savale, veteran, a couple teams, right? White Sox, Guardians, I think. We'll go for the A's. Pretty middling pitcher, right? Gives up a lot of power, high launch angle type of guy. Certainly a guy you can hunt with home runs, and this is a good team to do it with. A lot of power on the Braves. They haven't really truly clicked yet, but I think they're coming. I think the Braves are going to be a very strong offense if they can stay healthy. Acuna, Baldwin, Olsen, Riley, Yaz, Albies, Harris. All these guys look pretty dialed in to me watching the games, at least. It's hard to tell too much by the early statistics, but this is a team I want to be on in general, the Braves, and it's a good spot to do it. So, let's go Braves tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Braves bats are in a great spot here. Ownership's down a little bit. Team total over 5. I think it's kind of their first, really, really plus spot of the season, DC here for the Braves at home. Yeah. Savale's second worst estimators on the slate behind only Marquez, who we'll get to later in the show. Like you said, a huge fly ball rate guy. I think the second highest fly ball rate on the slate in 2025. Nice weather down in Atlanta. Like you said, the top 7 here really, really stands out for me. I'm definitely playing a good amount of Braves bats tonight. And we even get old friend Dom Cheeks in the lineup down in the 8-hole for the Braves. Like they've been rotating those 7, 8, 9 spots the last couple of seasons with some pretty interesting names. But yeah, I prefer the Braves side. I think the A's side is interesting more for the power hunting. They're pretty expensive here at DC. 2, 3, 4 is all 5K. We see Jacob Wilson bump up to the leadoff spot against the lefty. Ibanez, I would say, is a big time pinch hit risk in the 7th hole or in the 7 hole there. So yeah, I prefer the Braves bats overall, pretty high on them. But I'll definitely have some of the A's bats here. I'm not sure if we mentioned that it's Ticket Tuesday also. Yeah. We're bringing that back.
Yeah. We did it last year. I think we did it, I don't know, somewhere around the second half of the year we started up, but I think we won one of us won the first 10 or 11 that we did. I think a couple people eventually got us at the end of the year, but we will return with Ticket Tuesday, just a little way to give back to you guys for watching, supporting the show, hitting the like button, by the way. Do that if you here watching the show and like Ticket Tuesday. So we'll pick someone from chat every Tuesday to play us in a free 3-man contest. If you beat both of us, if you finish first in the contest, we'll hook you up with a free ticket to the flagship the next day, whether that's 15 or 18 or 20, whatever it is, DraftKings flagship tournament. We'll hook you up with the free ticket. And then also we'll keep track of all the winners, and we'll do a little Champions League at the end of the year, September, maybe a couple multi-day GPP giveaway, some RPS swag, maybe some cash as well. So just a little fun kind of contest to see how we do throughout the season. And we'll be monitoring chat to see who makes us laugh, who makes could be an informative comment. Maybe you point out something that we missed, but most likely the humor is probably going to get you into the Ticket Tuesday competition. Yeah, Jake Swales took us down. That might be a ticket into this first one of the night. Maybe.
Yeah. We have to take him out, just to start the year.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. He's got the BMF belt.
Yeah, he has the belt.
Yeah. So Jake Swales, you're on the short list for today. No promises. If someone really comes in hot, you might lose your ticket, but good chance you're in tonight, Swales. Anything else from this A's Braves game before we move on, Steve?
No, it's all bats. I had some minor Suarez interest early in the day. I'm kind of wavering on that just because I think the pitching up top is just way too strong tonight, and we do have pretty fairly priced bats throughout the slate. So he was in the playbook. I'm kind of coming off of any interest there, though.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Uncle T. Always good to see you in the chat. And I think a decent score for Uncle T last night. I think I saw that in the Discord today. So Uncle T always crushing it in the baseball streets. You do love to see it. Let's move to the next game on the slate. It is, this is the Cubs-Angels game. We're avoiding this game, weather issues. Anything to say in case it ends up clearing up?
Yeah, so I put this in the playbook. If things do clear up, like it's storming now, if things push through and this game looks like it's going to be a delay in play, it's one of the better pitching weather games we're going to see. Like it's going to be around 40 degrees, 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds blowing straight in. I know JBC is on the under here in case it does play. Two, fairly decent pitchers here at a good price point, right? So we should know early. I'm expecting a postponement, but also this is the only time that the Angels come to Chicago, and it's supposed to rain kind of the rest of the week here. So a couple things in play there where, if it does clear up, we could see a delay and play. But for the members, we'll be in Discord between the show and a lock to give our last thoughts there.
I got to hop on that under bet for this game because I don't think there's going to be much scoring in this game if it does play. Soriano, I mean, if it looks totally safe, I don't hate it. He looked really good in his first start in this weather, but I still think there are some better options. Just don't know if the strikeouts will be there, even if he ends up pitching pretty well. We'll move on quickly from the likely, we think, postponement in Chicago between the Angels and the Cubs. Let's go to Tampa Bay and Milwaukee here. Another fun game to talk about. I think we've got Brandon Woodruff going for Milwaukee. He had a really weird season last year where he missed the whole first half and he came back, Steve, and everything was the stuff was way down. The velocity was down a couple ticks, but he absolutely smashed. I mean,
everything was down, but the results.
Yeah. It was crazy. You don't see that happen very often, honestly, especially over, almost a full half season sample size. So I'll admit Woodruff kind of confuses me. I don't really know what to think of him going forward. He got a slow start to spring, was pushed back a little bit. I think they were talking about potentially opening his season on the injured list. So I can't imagine he's a full go here. I don't know if you look at the outs prop. I would imagine it's pretty low. Or at least I would put it low for Woodruff. I just can't do it at 9,200. Matchup's fine against Tampa, and he did pitch well last season. So if he was cheaper, maybe, but I just have too many questions marks myself about Woodruff. On a really strong pitching slate, there's going to be a lot of pitchers that we like.
I just pulled up his outs prop. Under 15.5 is minus 180 on DraftKings, our show partner here. So getting max 5 innings. I mean, it's a slate with, I think, very strong 9K arms. So you're using him with serious question marks against some pretty elite pitching too.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not on Woodruff. I'm not going to raise bats. I'm guessing you're fairly low on them as well.
Yeah, same. Yeah, good bullpen behind him too after he goes 4 or 5 innings.
And just a guy, Woodruff in general, is really good at limiting damage, right? Just not a guy you see get blown up very often. So pretty much off of both sides of Woodruff versus the Rays. Shane McClanahan makes his return here. He's missed most of the last, 2 or 3 years with various injuries. I think a Tommy John in there, but it wasn't just that. There were other injuries as well. But from the very beginning of, even prior to spring training, a month, 2 months ago, the Rays were saying McClanahan is healthy, and their plan was for him to be a full member of the rotation. Got built up kind of slowly in spring training. The velocity was down a little bit from what we saw from peak McClanahan, but it was getting better, a little bit better start after start. He did touch 97 in his last start, and he said, I mean, you take this with a grain of salt, but he said his instructions were to keep it reined into 80% during the spring training outings. Still struck out 7 over 3 2/3. It wouldn't shock me at all, Steve, if McClanahan comes out throwing 96, 97 to start this game. I think that's very possible. It's only a tick or two up from what he was doing in spring, and kind of all the narrative kind of says that. And then, I mean, you look at this Brewers lineup, they're missing some key guys against lefties, specifically Churio and Andrew Vaughn, who kills lefties. Got a lot of high strikeouts in there. I mean, Sanchez, I like Bowers, but he's like a 40% K guy against lefties. And their best hitters, Turang and Yelich, have to swing left versus left from McClanahan, which is not a fun matchup for any left-handed bat. So I think McClanahan probably limited to, 75, 80 pitches. I would be pretty surprised if he got beyond that. But I do kind of expect him to pitch well here. And I think if he is good, I think he's still going to get a lot of strikeouts. He was always a high strikeout guy. So 7% owned for McClanahan. I wish he was a little cheaper. 8,300's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but I probably will have a little bit of exposure here.
Yeah, I think he's a really good play for if you're building a bunch of lineups. Obvious upside, and kind of what you were saying here. I was pulling up his K prop. If he goes 5 innings here, I'm seeing over 5.5 is plus 125 on DK. I just bet that a bit. I mean,
I like that. I mean, honestly, I could see him getting 8 strikeouts in 5 innings pretty easily.
I mean, this is a mega upside arm. These are the kind of spots where I like to take stands, especially betting like the K props, right? It's a guy that we like. The market, I think, is lower than we are on where he's at right now. If all of this were, well known, then his prop would not be 5.5 plus 125. It would be 6.5 minus 110 or something like that. So I like that. I just bet that over 5.5 plus 125 on DK. And yeah, I think that the DFS play is interesting. It kind of grew on me throughout the afternoon. There just isn't really anyone in his price range besides Scherzer that I want to use. So like I'm playing 20 lineups. I think there's, clear outcomes where McClanahan just beats Max straight up here. So, it's not like Scherzer's going 7-8 innings in his first start of the season. This has grown on me throughout the day, DC, just getting on some Shane. If he comes out and slings it here, this is going to be the cheapest that we see him until he gets hurt again. So, 83 does seem like a lot. It's a full 1,000 less than Woodruff for a similar type upside arm with the same leash. So,
I mean, what is 5 innings, 8 Ks, no earned runs? What's that? I mean, that's like what, 23-ish?
Mid-20s,
like
yeah.
So that's a good score at 8,300. And yeah, I think McClanahan goes 5 innings is my guess, and hopefully he can get the strikeouts because we both do like him, especially at low ownership, under 10%. It looks like for Shane McClanahan. I don't think that number is going to move too much, and I have fairly high hopes for McClanahan this year. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. A really fun guy to watch pitch, and really good strikeout arm too in the right matchups. Brewers bats. I don't really have anybody.
I'm not playing bats in this game. I'm going to play some Shane. We'll see what we get from Woodruff for moving forward, and I bet the strikeout prop.
Yeah, I'll be watching that one closely, see what McClanahan and Woodruff look like. We'll move it to another potential weather game, but I'm playing this one like it's going to play, and then I'll adjust if I need to with the Mets and the Cardinals. I hadn't looked at the radar in the last couple of hours. Do we know, is it likely to be an early delay if it is, and then play after or mid-game? Do you know?
Let's see what the tool says here.
Yeah.
Pull it up here. Looks like the precip is pretty low chance throughout.
Yeah. This game's going to play.
I think this game's going to play. Oh, yeah. So we've got like the hour by hour. It looks like the delay. Oh, it just updated. That's wild. So most of these models have a delay closer to, 9, 10, 11 p.m., which less of a concern now the games are 2 hours, not 3.5.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, but also really cool that you can like look at the different models for the weather, and like Stats has a tract of which of them perform better in each category. So you can like look at the best win model versus the best dew point model. It's pretty awesome. So good stuff there on the weather model. But yeah, this game, I think it's going to play. Mets Cardinals, like I said, should be pretty good hitting weather if it does go hot and humid with some wind potentially blowing out in St. Louis. Andre Payante will go for the Cardinals. He's like a kind of a prototypical contact suppressing, but a poor K to walk ratio. Allows a lot of base runners, right? I think that's kind of the Payante profile. A lot of base runners, but not necessarily a ton of power. So these types of pitchers are pitchers I like using full stacks against because, you get the little merry-go-round around the bases going sometimes. So the Mets, I think, are a decent full stack, but the guys you kind of want for the most part are really expensive, and I don't know for sure if the power will be here. So I like the Mets. They're not my very favorite stack of the day. I like the Braves better. But I do think they're a pretty good play against Payante. And then Kodai Senga going for the Mets. He looks like he might be back to, I think, the 2023 version. Had over 200 strikeouts that year. I think it's, a really high K per 9, K percentage. His velocity was up 2 miles per hour this spring. The results were also there for Senga. More strikeout, like just mowed everybody down. And yeah, I think Senga good to go right now. I think he's going to have a really nice start to the season and pretty good matchup here against the Cardinals. Obviously, like my guy, Weatherholt, talked about Gorman yesterday. He hit a home run. But the truth is, Steve, overall, it's a great matchup for Senga. If he's back to his normal self, like I think, he's a great value, I think, at 7,400. Obviously, you got to pay attention to the weather, but one of my favorite pitching plays on the slate, Kodai Senga.
Yeah, there isn't much below Scherzer on this slate. I think he's a guy that I'm going to take a chance on kind of being early on. It's a cheap price for the type of upside that he does have. Obviously, he could walk the yard and it could go bad, but I think it's a really fun tournament to play on this slate. We're seeing, what's the ownership here? Under 5%, under 8%. I think he's a really interesting pivot in tournaments to Scherzer. I'm definitely going to be over that. I kind of had the same thoughts you did. Everything you read from spring said that he looked good. The stuff is back. And we talked yesterday. I think I'm a bit lower on just this St. Louis lineup overall than you are. I kind of want to pick on them early in the season.
Yeah.
I think 7,400 is a fair price tag, right? For the volatility of Senga. He's going to have his blow up starts, but his upside.
He's a similar play to McClanahan, right? It's kind of like hoping the stuff is back, coming off of injuries. volatile, but we think the strikeouts could be, and both have that big strikeout matchup too.
Yeah, I mean, Senga's got 25 in his range of outcomes here, especially against the Cardinals. So he's definitely in my pool. I really like the Mets bats. Like you said, they're kind of expensive, but they also have just a cheap ass back half of the order, DC, which really, really helps. So like the Mets have just such a deep lineup this season. I feel like we're going to be on the Mets a lot just kind of throughout the year. Piante's got the lowest strikeout rate on the slate outside of Marquez, ERA over 5 last year. And I don't think he's got a ton of like upside to improve. I think he just is kind of who he is.
Yes.
My only real concern is, like you said, the ground ball rate north of 50% last season, but it's a really, really good guy to stack against. I don't think that the Cardinals bullpen is going to be any good this year either. So I really like the Mets here. They're one of my top stacks on the entire slate, honestly.
Cardinals bullpen definitely sucks. I've watched them pitch enough games already to know that they don't have anybody in there. They don't even have a closer. Like no one's good enough to be named the closer. So
yeah.
I
like the Mets a lot.
Yeah, I might need to move them up a little bit.
Any favorites in the back half of the order? Like
Benj, I mentioned Carson Benj. All these rookies, man, they're just absolutely crushing it out of the gate, and they're all underpriced. Benj is a really good hitter. I think he's averaging like 98, 99 mile per hour exit velocity, which is not going to last, but he can hit the ball hard. I mean, he just can. His minor league production was there. He can run, steal bases. He's a great bargain at 2,900. Even on non-Met stacks, I think he's one of the better values on the slate. And nobody's playing these young guys like Max Muncy's, the Chase DeLauters, McGonigal, Benjes. Nobody's playing these young studs. So good to stay on them because they're not going to be this cheap forever.
Yeah. A little bit of risk with Jared Young, but he's hitting 5th for Stone Min. That matters more on a team where you've got Juan Soto at 6,300, to kind of balance things out.
Yeah, Robert with the big walk-off home run the other days. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big season out of Robert getting out of Chicago. Now he's teammates with Juan Soto. Like,
just stay healthy, man. Stay healthy. Yeah,
just such a good environment to take a big step forward. So I'm with you. Higher on the Mets than I was when we started the conversation. I think they make a lot of sense as a full-on 5-man stack. There's enough cheap pitching to get the good Mets bats in there and cheap guys at the bottom of the order, like you mentioned. I'm not playing Cardinals tonight, but yeah, Weatherholt, Gorman would be my top 2 bats in that lineup. Let's go to Boston and Houston next. Hunter Brown going for the Astros and Brian Bayo going for the Red Sox. Brown coming off kind of a weird opening start against the Angels, got the 9 strikeouts, but didn't have a good outing. Other than that, stuff looked good though. Kind of thinking that one is like a blip on the, just a blip on the radar at the end of the day. I think he's going to be really good. No Jarren Duran in the lineup for the Red Sox, which is a nice upgrade for Hunter Brown. I think he's a solid play. 9,700, no issues with him whatsoever other than price tag and kind of chalky on the slate. I do like some, lower owned guys like Senga and McClanahan, but definitely in on Hunter Brown. I don't think I'm playing Red Sox bats. Roman Anthony would be my top guy. And then Bayo versus the Astros, who had a huge day yesterday, did the Astros. Altuve, Jordan Alvarez looking good early. I didn't find myself too attracted to the Astros, but Bayo's not any good. And I could see the Astros low on stack going off. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I like Hunter Brown a ton here. He was so good at home the entire year last year. Just really pitches well in this dome here. Boston's got a low team total. Like P. Lally says in the chat, the Boston bats are off to kind of a slow start. No Duran here. I really like Hunter Brown. Around 25% ownership. I think that's fair. Not a slam dunk matchup, but just a really, really good one overall for him. No interest in Bayo here. I think you could play some Houston bats.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite stack on the slate, but like we were talking on the Friday show, this team is going to hit until they start to get hurt with how old they are. But right now, they've got their best 9 out there, every day. So like we were saying on Friday, I want to be on Houston early in the year. The prices are still very, very manageable here. Altuve hit 2 bombs last night. We're going to talk on a lot of slates at how weak the second base position is kind of across the entire sport. Having a guy that can hit 2 home runs there is such a big differentiator. So I like Houston. I would say that they're in like the second tier of offense for me tonight.
Yeah, I think that makes sense with Houston. I did see a tweet of like bat speed increases so far this year from last year, 2025 to 26, and Cam Smith, one of the guys who's swinging it a lot harder, still going to strike out all the time and you got to make contact, but it certainly correlates with power. And his, so far at least, he's swinging harder than just about anybody in the league. So 2,900, I think a good low-owned, cheap guy to chase for potential power. Maybe not tonight, but just something to note going forward. Let's go to San Francisco and the Padres next. German Marquez finally out of Colorado. Some people in chat have probably been watching my shows for way too long, and I used to like Marquez back in the day in Colorado. Had some good starts then. Really fell off though these last 3 or 4 years. Beaten down by a decade of Coors Field and pitching for the Pace Eaters. I mean, it would beat the strongest man down, Steve. So he's out. He's over in San Diego, obviously, and
what an upgrade.
looked pretty good this spring, did old German Marquez. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger tonight, but 6K, I'll be watching and rooting for my guy Marquez at the very least. He'll go up against Logan Webb, coming off that stinker against the Yankees on opening night. I don't really take too much from that. I think Webb will be just his normal self, right? We kind of know what to expect from him. I think we know who he is at this point. He's a really good real-life pitcher, but not always the best DFS option just because the strikeouts aren't always there for Logan Webb. But fun one here. Giants, Padres, and Petco, Logan Webb, and German Marquez.
Yeah, I'll start with Webb. 8,600, I think, is pretty fair for him. It's not the highest strikeout matchup, but his K prop over 5.5, -110 on a slate where I think the only ones higher are Hunter Brown and Logan Gilbert. So it's not like we have a guy on here with an 8.5 K prop. I think he's a reasonable play, man. It's a good place to pitch. It's more of a, we think he has like a pretty clean 6 inning outing with 5-6 Ks. I think he's a decent play here. I'll have some Webb.
At first I thought you were talking about Marquez, but then I realized you couldn't be. You couldn't be. Yeah.
No chance. Logan Webb has the highest outs prop on the slate, 18-ish. So, yeah, I think he's a reasonable play. Marquez, I'm just going to have to see it. I kind of just want to be on the other side of that until until things change. We've now got such a long track record of him being not just a bad pitcher, but like the worst pitcher in all of baseball. And it's not like he's getting unlucky. This guy had an 8 ERA on the road last year, so it's not just that Coors was kind of dinging him. So, 6.7 ERA in 26 starts last year. My concern with using a bunch of Giants is if Marquez struggles, there's going to turn it over to just a completely nasty bullpen. So I just don't know how often I'm going to stack against the Padres in general this year because the bullpen is just going to put out so many fires. But yeah, Marquez is terrible. I
don't love this. I don't love this Giants lineup in general, though.
I might have some 1, 2, and 3 mans, but I'm with you. I'm not in love with it. I actually think Webb's the best play in the game. He's not going to be owned. He's kind of stuck between Fried and Scherzer. So I think he's an interesting play. bounce back spot for sure here in a good pitcher's park.
Classic Boyden play. Logan Webb in a pitcher's park. Too smart, Boyden. It's a wise move.
Give me my 19.5 and I'll move on.
Yeah, fair enough. These two good entries for Ticket Tuesday, and still bags of groceries in between starts. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Marquez's K prop is 3.5. Just kind of tough to click him.
I might have to go. Here's what I'm going to do, Steve. I'm betting the K prop. I'm not going to play him in DFS, right?
We had to have some sort of outcome there that, you were on Marquez.
Yeah, I need
some
to
capacity.
I got to have a little Marquez action tonight. Let's go to Seattle. Yankees and Mariners here. We've got good pitching matchup. Max Fried and Logan Gilbert. Both these guys looked good, I thought, in their first starts. Max Fried opening night against the Giants.
Yep.
Looked like Max Fried. We know who he is, and that's obviously a really, really good pitcher. And then, Logan Gilbert, actually, his stuff was up a little bit overall. He threw a new cutter, brand new cutter. He didn't throw it a single time last year. 20% of the time in that last outing. I believe it's supposed to help with lefties, I think is the reason he had it instead of like the straight fastball, right? You throw the cutter, try to get it in on the hands. So that should help him, I think, get even better than he already is. And this Yankees team, man, tough start, right? You got to start off in San Francisco, then you got to go into Seattle, 2 West Coast road trips for this Yankee squad. They got kind of blown away by Luis Castillo last night. And man, if Castillo can do it, I got to imagine Logan Gilbert's got a chance to do it too. So I do like really both these pitchers quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, lowest total on the slate. This game was 2-1 last night. Kind of see the same here. I mean, what a sleepy start for the Yankees. You go to San Francisco.
It's brutal, man. It's like the toughest.
Yeah. And then you have to go to Seattle. I mean, just not where you want to be in March. It's in the 40s there, raining. I'm going to have a ton of both of these pitchers. I kind of think that they're going underplayed here in general. So, I'm with you on Gilbert. He has obviously the higher strikeout upside than Fried, but, Fried posts, the 8 to 10K outings every now and then too. Big outs props on both of these guys. The prop market is basically expecting 6 innings and 6 and 7 strikeouts from these guys. So, I don't even mind playing both of them in the same lineup. It worked last night. Pretty sure JBC's on the under in this game on an already low total. I mean, this is the lowest total on the slate by a full run on a 10-game slate.
Yeah, I gotta like the pitchers here. The best time to use pitchers against the Yankees is when Jazz Chisholm is so cold. He's got like the whole skin suit, like up around his.
You barely see.
Yeah. And you're like, all right, Yankees aren't doing anything tonight in this one. So, love the pitching here. Yankees and Mariners, we're on the same page on that one. What do we got? A couple more games to go here. We'll of course finish with stacks, pitchers. Should have time to do the Dong draft as well. We'll get that started this year. Let's talk about these last couple games. Fun one here. Detroit and Arizona. Big total. Sitting around 9.5 for this one. Steve, I know you were on the Tigers lefties with me yesterday. One of the key reasonings. We didn't think too highly of Soroka. Was apparently wrong for at least one start on that. But also the D-backs bullpen has no lefties in it, which means the guys like Carpenter and Keith, by the way, mashing right now. And the Tigers did end up having a pretty decent day overall. It could have been a lot better. But now they get Brandon Pfaadt in the exact same situation. I believe the roof open here in Arizona. You got to go right back to the Tigers here. The Tigers burn through a lot of their, or the D-backs burn through a lot of their bullpen too. It's not good, the guys that they do have. And love this Tigers team. Really all the lefties, Carpenter, Keith, Green, McGonigal is kind of my big 4 that I want. Talk about the Tigers first. We'll go to the D-backs too, because I like that side of this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, they quote-unquote busted last night. I just pulled it up. They had 10 hits, 4 walks. They didn't hit any bombs. I mean, they were like 3 of 10 with runners in scoring position. It's the exact same spot. I mean, the price tags are too good, man. Like on a slate where we do have top end pitching, you can full stack this team super easily. I like both sides a ton.
Yeah.
Casey Mize, I've been reading, was kind of fighting his mechanics in spring. Arizona, man, the top 4 or 5 of this lineup is so dangerous. We saw it last night with Verlander. Like he wasn't even. I had this game on because I stacked Detroit everywhere. He wasn't even missing spots. It's just Corbin Carroll is hitting 3-run bombs on a pitch that is almost in the dirt.
The top 3 of this lineup is so tough. Marte, Carroll, Perdomo. Man.
And they're so easy to stack because Jordan Lawler's price is $2,100. They've got a 2K shortstop in there today, so it's not like you have to avoid the big sticks here either. They have a catcher that can hit, that's going to hit clean up a lot of days to cover the catcher spot. So yeah, I'm all in on both sides of this game. Going right back to the Tigers. I liked the Diamondbacks last night, but more of like secondary stacks. I'm going full bore on this game, both sides.
Yeah, talked about Jordan Lawler yesterday. Didn't get the home run, but did have really nice day at the plate. Stolen base in there as well.
Third and outfield too on DK.
He's almost like a must include for me on this D-backs team because you want I think the best stack, we don't have the lineup yet, would be the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Lawler, Marte, Carroll, Perdomo, right. Moreno. That seems almost too good.
Yeah, and then Fernandez is a prospect too. I think he's 21 or 22 years old. He's 2K at short, hit 20 bombs, stole 12 bases in the minors last year. So it's not like he's a retread nobody. I think he's interesting too, just because you do want the Marte Carroll duo at the top. So yeah, it's all systems go bats here. I didn't get to either pitch here. I just don't really trust Mize. And there's no chance that I'm missing out on the Tigers lefties after last night.
Yeah, I 100% am in on this. Lawler, I think, is going to have a big year for Arizona if he can stay healthy. I think he's going to stay down there in the 9-hole, right? They kind of like him as that secondary table setter.
Yeah.
Keep the pressure on him. He can run along. Like he's going to – Lawler –
He's going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah. Yep. And the lineup's deep enough where he'll get RBI opportunities as well. So love Jordan Lawler, obviously staying on my guy. McGonigal looked awesome again last night at a hard barrel that flew out to the track, took a couple walks. He's just going to be
he just top spin that ball too. Yeah.
You can just see, man, his bats are just insanely good. His command of the strike zone, he never whiffs.
Yeah.
I know I talk about him every single slate, but I think people should keep playing him every single slate. He's going to be awesome, and he's still too cheap.
I hadn't seen him until the season started, because I was doing college basketball stuff. And his, like you said, his command of the zone, his bat to ball, just kind of mechanics and speed just jump off the screen.
Yeah, I used AI to run his 20-year-old AA production against the historically best guys, and his top comps were like Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna, and Joey Votto, something like that. So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to be in on this guy. So
thank you, Claude.
Yes, thank you, AI. That was very helpful. Yeah, we're both just. If you had to choose, which side do you like better? I was initially thinking Tigers, but I don't know. This D-backs seems dangerous.
The D-back stacks might work better just because they have the Lawler 2K spot. I'm more in on the kind of long-term fading Arizona when there's a right-handed starter until they change this bullpen.
Yeah.
That's more of a attacking Arizona than me, all in on the Tigers bats or anything like that.
Yeah, whether or not it works tonight or any individual night, stacking lefties against Arizona while they don't have any lefties in the pen, it is going to work, over the long haul. So that won't last forever, but got to take advantage.
Yeah, the roof is open in Arizona.
Yeah. Carroll, man, he looked locked in last night too. That bomb he hit was pretty sick. All right, let's go to the last game of the slate: Cleveland and the Dodgers. This one, obviously in LA, and Shohei Ohtani will make his weather permitting MLB mound debut. I think it's been a little bit of a rough start for him at the plate, but he looked even better this spring, Steve. His stuff, like he's obviously another year removed from the injury, right? He only threw kind of limited innings last year, but now, man, he looks even better. I think on a per inning basis, Ohtani's going to be right there with anybody on strikeouts, production, whatever metric you want to use. 9K, I would expect 5 innings. I think for Ohtani here, I think that would be the plan. I don't think he'll go beyond that, but against this Guardians lineup, man, he could absolutely smash. So kind of a similar play to McClanahan, but I do have way more faith in Ohtani's pitching ability right now than McClanahan. So I think I got to like Ohtani.
Just real quick, DC, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
That I've been a lot of times with Ohtani, I'll monitor like his outs and K prop throughout the day. They've been going up the entire day. He's up to his outs over 16.5 is minus 120 now. So they're expecting him to pitch into the 6th inning here, which is big, obviously. Sorry, go ahead.
No. If that's the case, I wasn't aware the props were on the way up, but I was already in on Ohtani, and I think this Guardians lineup, man, I think he could mow through these guys. So love Ohtani there at 9K. What's his ownership looking like?
Sabres saying low 20s here, 20 to 25, something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I like him better than Hunter Brown personally, but I could see that being a close decision.
It's a better matchup, I think. For a long time, people just had this in their heads that the Guardians don't strike out. That was true. Last year, they dropped down. I looked this up earlier. They were like the 17th highest. And then, it's obviously super early. They are ahead of the playbook. Let me pull it up 1 second.
Yeah, the top 3 guys, Kwan, DeLauder, and Ramirez, are going to be good contact guys, but the bottom, man, just strikeouts galore in the bottom half of that Guardians lineup.
Yeah, through a couple games so far this year, they have the 3rd highest strikeout rate against righties.
Yeah, you prefer Ohtani or Hunter Brown?
I kind of want to play Ohtani. I just think, I'm with you. I think it's a better matchup. I think it's a better chance for a win. I like that the props are going his way. You save the 700. I also think that he pops like the 5-inning 12K game more than Hunter Brown does.
Yeah, we think Ohtani's projection is low. We're both on the over on just the general Ohtani projections. So yeah, I'm on board. Going to get Dodgers at lower ownership with the weather. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not like you can't, Tanner Bibee's some great arm to avoid. So you could definitely go to the Dodgers here. What are you thinking with Dodgers versus Bibee?
Yeah, I think there's a good point from John here real quick first. I actually think that he comes in lower owned than that because I think people are going to be a bit concerned with the weather. I think it's fine. We'll take another look before lock for the members in Discord. But yeah, I think the Dodgers are in play every slate. I know you guys talked about it yesterday. It sucks to not be able to use Ohtani. But I just think that these price tags are going to keep inching up kind of across the board, DC. I think by the time we hit May, we're going to see almost this entire lineup at 5K plus, and it's just going to be really, really hard to full stack them unless we get like a super cheap pitcher. So yeah, they bust last night in an underratedly tough matchup against Messick. I think they set up much, much better just kind of overall this season against right-handed pitching in general. So yeah, I'm not going to talk anyone off of stacking Dodgers on any slate this season.
I just updated Weather Edge over on my end, and I think this number has moved down. Now we've got 28% chance of delay and a 4% chance of postponement. So
yep,
that's, I'm willing to kind of take the risk, right? At that point, 4% chance of postponement. So obviously, anything could happen. Got to monitor it, but I do think this game will play. And yeah, I think all Dodger stacks and Ohtani make a ton of sense. That's all 10 games, Steve. Let's go to our preferred pitching combinations. A lot of options to go to. Talk about some of the best, the guys that you think you're highest on the slate.
Yeah. So after talking through everything, I think I kind of want to lean into this Ohtani prop movement here. I like him and the pitchers out in Seattle the best if I'm able to make it work. If not, I've got no issue dropping down to a Scherzer, or I think Senga is a really, really interesting pivot to Scherzer. I think that Scherzer will come in much higher owned than projected here just because there isn't that much around him. So I know I just gave a bunch of answers there, but Ohtani, the guys in Seattle, and Senga.
Yeah, similar for me. I think my overall favorite combination, and you'll probably get them just a little bit lower on because of the weather situations, but Ohtani, Senga, give me two guys in the little bit dicey weather situations. Obviously, can monitor the situation and switch over if I need to, but I think Ohtani smashes this lineup, and I think Senga just is under projected and underpriced because he was not great last year. And I think we're going to see the old Kodai Senga. So love that combo. Steve, let's do top 3 stacks. Who are you stacking tonight?
Yes, I really like both sides in that Tigers Snakes game. So that might honestly be my main, is both of those.
Yeah.
And then I'll go with the Mets. We talked about how deep the lineup is overall. I like the cheap bats that we get in the back half here to kind of balance the Lindor, Soto, Bichette top. So it's the Arizona game and the Mets.
I like it. The Tigers D-backs game is by far my favorite. Like the Dodgers, and then I'll throw in the Braves and the Blue Jays as well as pretty strong stacks tonight. But I'm with you. Tigers lefties and that Arizona wraparound stack is going to be kind of the core, I think, of most of my lineups tonight. Dong draft to finish the show, Steve. What do you say?
Do it first. Oh, let's do the ticket first because I've got the contest up here.
Some good stuff, but I think it's got to go back to Swales has got to be able to defend his title, right?
Yep. Swales, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I've got my name here, Steve Boynton VT, in the thing, and I will send you the invite.
All right, Dong draft. What's you get 1.5 points if you're below? Was it 3,500? Can't remember.
Yeah, 3,500.
All right, and we do 3 of them. Go ahead, Steve. Make your first pick.
Well, I'll go with Lawler to start us out. Jordan Lawler at the 2,100 spot for me, the 1.5x.
All right, Lawler. You got give me Corbin Carroll to get another one tonight.
Carroll for you. I'm going to go to the Tigers side. I'm going to go with Riley Green. Bomb.
I'll stick with the Tigers as well and go with Mr. McGonigal. Gets on the board here with his first bomb of his career.
I already had him on your list. I didn't.
Yeah, that was a lock.
It actually came preloaded with McGonigal.
It's like Big T and NBA with Jokic in the score every single
right.
I'm
going to go back to Luis Robert. I think he gets another one tonight, like we were saying, as long as he can stay healthy, right? It's just a great spot for him to just have a monster season. So Lawler, Riley Green, and Luis Robert for me.
All right, I will go with Shea Langoliers. Got that matchup against the lefty Suarez. Yeah, love the spot for Shea Langoliers. That'll do it for this show. Not sure what the plan is for shows tomorrow. I assume we'll have one for the early slate. If not, obviously, RPS members will have all the content up on the site. We'll be in the Discord answering questions, getting our lineups ready, all that good stuff. So until next time, he's Steve Boynton. I'm DC. We're out of here.